The biggest problem with entrepreneurs is the fear, and that's in the Bible like 365 times, I think, in the Bible, brother. It's fear. They're afraid to take that leap, and I encourage people, you just have to start somewhere. It doesn't matter how you start, just start.
Moses Heredia, a faith-driven son of an immigrant who went from working the fields as a kid to becoming CEO of Global Processing Systems and best-selling author of Fields to Fortune.
Moses, I know you come from very humble beginnings. Can you take us back to kind of where you grew up?
I'll give you guys a little quick snapshot. So I actually am a son of an immigrant, and I grew up working on the fields, a young child. I remember working 14, 16, 18-hour days. Brutal, right? And I was like, if I don't get out of here, I'm not going to succeed in life. So I got out of there with a Greyhound ticket and one way to California.
Did you have any money?
Absolutely not. I just had a backpack. That's where it all started after that, man, the success.
How important was you taking imperfect action and kind of figuring out along the way?
One of the ingredients that he has that I've been gifted by God is just...
That's beautiful. And I actually have a question for you. What were some of the pivots you made that didn't work versus did work? What are some of the biggest challenges you deal with even present day? What would be your best 60-second piece of advice to get someone unstuck and really start living in the momentum they crave?
Here's what I always say is, hi, I'm Moses Heredia. I went from picking cucumbers in the farms to processing billions of dollars in payments, and I'm one of the passionate few.
Thanks so much for being on the show today, Moses.
Hey, man, thank you for having me, man. It's an honor to be here with you, Omar. It was a pleasure, man. Thank you.
Excited to do this, bro. I know a lot of people on social media don't know your story yet, but it's incredible. Can you give the audience, kind of before we get into it, a little bit of context on the scale of your business today? And then we'll get into your story, because I know you come from very humble beginnings. So let's first at the top talk about what you do in business today, and then we'll kind of unpack the story of how you got there.
Yeah, absolutely, Omar. So my name is Moses Heredia, founder and CEO of Global Processing Systems. My company, what we do is we enable anyone that has a business to accept any form of payment, and major card brands like Visa, MasterCard, ACH, gateways. To give you an idea, some of our clients on the higher end recognizable brands would be like Domino's, Pollo Loco, Toyota. So we cater to the large accounts, but to be honest with you, that's not where it started. It started with the small mom and pop businesses, and we still cater to them. To give you an idea, let's say that someone works out of their home or garage, and they sell their small crafts, and they want an online business to take credit cards. So we cater to that. So the company, to be honest with you, is grown. It's 22 years in business, 23 this coming year. And, I was very humbled and honored that I got offered by a big financial institution at one point for over $50 million to purchase my company about 5 years ago. So
$50 million.
Yes, sir. So we're doing great. We're kicking ass, and we're doing amazing. And it's really, I can't really thank anyone but God. He's put me in this position, and it's going amazing, and we're growing year after year. We're nationwide. And it's definitely been a great journey, and we're still young at heart and at the company, so we're moving forward, man. But for the most part, that's what we do. We're laser focused on credit card processing, and we keep moving and learning the new technology. So the good thing is, Omar, that we stay with the technology. So tap to pay, Apple Pay, all that good stuff. When it's on your phone, it's on a mobile unit. If you're out there in the field doing something and you need to be transparent with the customer, you can text them right then and there, get the invoice. So it's pretty robust, and we're going with the technology. So it's something that's cutting edge, and it's amazing stuff that keeps me on my toes.
And it's pretty incredible to think that you kind of built all this coming from very humble beginnings, because I know you got your book out, Fields to Fortune, where you talk about actually growing up where you were in the fields with your mother. So can you take us back to kind of where you grew up and just paint the picture for us on what that was like early on?
Oh, yeah. So, man, I'm going to try not to cry, man. So
we're going to cry.
Taking me way back.
We're going to cry, bro.
So, I remember years ago when I was a toddler, I don't even think I could speak yet, right? So I remember my mom would wrap me up with a blanket and like a burrito, she'd wrap me up in a blanket. And it was, I would say, 4 or 5 in the morning. And, she would put me on the floorboard of the pickup truck and turn on the heater, so that way I would stay warm. And I remember those days going to the fields and working with her. So I actually am a son of an immigrant, and I grew up working on the fields as a young man, as a young child.
How old were you when you first started doing that?
You know, I remember, I remember knocking on farmers' doors to acquire their business because my mom couldn't speak English, right? So she would say, you know, go knock on the doors and see if they have crops that we can take over and the land. And so I would go there and I would say, you know, hey, are you looking for hands? We have a crew that can harvest your crops. And I was 5 years old, to give you an idea. So I remember being 5 years old, knocking on doors and cold calling. So, you know, one of the things that I'm never afraid, Omar, is to ask for someone's business, you know, and that's what my mom taught me. And I've been really blessed to continue that path. And that's what got me where I'm at today.
And so what was her job early on? Because she did a lot of different things, right?
Oh my God, yeah. So it's in the book, but I'll give you guys a little quick snapshot. So my mom came from very humble beginnings. Trip this out. So as I'm writing the book, Omar, I actually said I got to dig in more, right? I have to interview my aunts, my uncles, and just dive in. So I can tell you that it was, I learned a lot that I didn't even know about. So my mom and her family were so poor that my grandpa, which is her father, had bees, honeys for harvest, right? So he would sell the honey, and they didn't have electricity. So my grandpa would get the wax, take it to my grandma. She would make candles out of it, and that's how they had light at night.
Wow.
And for running water, Omar, they would go to the river, bring it back in jugs, and boil it so they could drink it. So
And this is in Mexico.
This is in Mexico, yeah,
Chihuahua.
Chihuahua,
Yeah.
Chihuahua, Mexico. And she would go door to door selling fruits, and he was also a fisherman. They would sell fish. They were always hustling, you know. So my mom didn't go to school. She didn't go one day of school. Didn't she learned how to read and write on her own after as an adult, and then growing up as a kid, that's what she did. And then she opened up a restaurant in Mexico when she was 17 years old, and she had all her siblings working for her.
Wow.
And the younger ones, you know, being a busboy and a server. And then she owned also with the restaurant next door was a little hotel motel, and she would rent those out. So,
Wow.
so she was always an entrepreneur, and her father said, you know what? I regret not giving you the education. I gave your other siblings education. You're the one I should have looked out for. But you know what? It was the grind and the grit, and there's the 4 Gs that I like to call, man, is God, goals, grind, and make a global impact. And that's what I trademarked, and that's what I believe in. And it's all about faith and not stopping. So yeah, it's a wild story. It's in the book, but my mom really just instilled a lot of those characteristics in me, man, that I do today.
Can you remember some specific jobs you did with your mom at that time?
Oh, dude, yes. There were several, right? So I did the pecans. I did.
You were literally in the fields picking.
Yeah, and the pecans. I did the bell pepper.
Yeah.
I did the peanuts. I did the cotton, the cotton fields. But the one that was by far the most brutal to this day, it was the cucumbers. Picking cucumbers, brother. So just imagine this. I'll give you a quick visual, right?
Do you ever trip out real quick?
What's that?
You're in a situation you're in now, this multi-million-dollar company, and you used to pick cucumbers. Like, does that ever? Do you ever go, holy shit? How did I end up here?
You know what, Omar? No, I don't, brother. And the reason why, because I still have my friends from when I was a child to high school to now, and I've always been the same dude. You know, here's the thing, Omar, that people don't understand. So, you know, I hear a lot of stories, and I've met a lot of people that they say, you know what, money changed that guy. You know, look at him now, money changed him. And to be honest with you, excuse my language, it's not fucking money, man. The person's always been like that. Just money ignited the fire in him of who he really is or who she really is. So money don't change people, brother. But listen, at the end of the day, I was born very humble, and I don't look back and look at what I have now. No, because every day is a blessing to me, because we give back, right? And that's the whole idea of where I'm at today. So I don't really trip out. I'm a regular guy, you know, and love God and love faith and give back. And but anyway,
keeps you
getting back to
grounded.
the cucumber, bro.
Yeah.
Shit, the cucumber was by far the toughest, brother. I remember being a child. I would say 13 at this time, and my mom said, "Hey, tomorrow we're gonna go harvest cucumber." I'm like, "I've never done cucumber." I'm like, "All right, cool." So then I got there, you know, late, and then there was a line already built up. So they give you two 5-gallon buckets, right?
And how old are you at this time?
13.
Okay.
I was 13 years
So
old.
from 5 to 13, like this is like normal. You're doing
Yeah,
this.
it's normal routine, bro. At the end of the day, like for shade, I would like go under the truck because there was no shade out in the fields. I mean, there was no porta potties. You know, you go
Creature
dig,
comforts,
yeah,
none of
you
that,
go dig a hole and you take care of business. Like lunchtime, everyone gathers and shares the food. You know what? I can tell you this, man, that I had the most amazing memories as a child working with the immigrants and the laborers out in the cotton fields, brother, because everyone would circle up, share their food. If there was a birthday, they would say happy birthday. They would sing. They would bring cakes. It's like
Camaraderie.
yeah, you know what, man? It was the poorest people I've ever met, probably to this day, but it was the happiest.
Yeah,
And everyone would rejoice and support each other.
that's beautiful.
So good stuff, though. It was a good learning experience. But yeah, so all my childhood, I was in the fields pretty much. And my mom would say, "Hey, you want your Nintendo? You want shoes, Nikes, Converse?" At the end of the day, it's like you got to get out there and work for it.
Yeah.
And at first, it was actually brutal, right? But I didn't understand it till I'm an adult now. Now I understand what she was doing. She was preparing me for life, teaching me a lesson.
And go back to the cucumber story you were mentioning. You get there one day, it's lining up. People are lining up outside. What happens next?
Omar, man, get this, dude. So we're lining up, and they give you 2 gallons. You could have 1 gallon, but at the end of the day, the more you harvest, the more you get. So I never understood this to an adult. So I was on commission only. So check this out. So they give you 2 5-gallon buckets. Then you go pick your row. And then the reason why those guys were there early, because they were smart. Because imagine a big old diesel in the middle of the rows, and there's probably about 20 to 30 rows to your left and then to your right as well. And then the diesel never stops. It keeps going slow pace. So you're on hunchback in your back and putting cucumbers in these 5-gallon buckets. By the time, so if you were there late and you picked a row that was so far away from the diesel, then you got to run to the diesel, then run back and start where you left off. So imagine that 5-gallon buckets, they get heavy. But here's the funny thing. The funny thing is, it's not a funny thing, it's a learning lesson that I look back. They used to give me a token. It was aluminum token that would drop in your bucket, you know, and that was 25 cents. So essentially I was on commission only and didn't even know it. So it was commission only. At the end of the day, you would count your chips, you'd take them in and you trade them in for dollars or whatever money you've raised that day.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would give up because it was pretty brutal.
And so how long did you do that before you ended up, because I know later you ended up buying a one-way on a Greyhound, I believe, when you were 17?
Yeah, so I did it all through my childhood until I was 17, and then I moved to California. So I remember working in the fields, and at the end of the day, it was whatever was in harvest, whatever was in season. So, you know, if peanuts was in season, that's what you do. Bell pepper, that's what you do. So you would
Where
go
were you
out
doing
to
this at?
West Texas.
Okay.
So I was born and raised in New Mexico, Hobbs, which is like across the street is Texas, like less than a mile. So we would just go all around the West Texas area, Seminole and you know, Lubbock, Texas, all that other stuff. So we would just drive and farm to farm and find work.
And at that time, like, would you have ambitions or dreams or goals of doing big stuff, becoming a millionaire, like all that stuff? Or were you just trying to get a little bit ahead of where you were at?
No, you know what, Omar? Yes, I did. I would remember being out in the fields in the hot, it was over 100 degrees, and just working with the laborers. And you would go about a mile before you get to your destination and you have to come back to get some water. So absolutely, I would remember just working in the fields and say, you know what, I can't do this for the rest of my life. And I would look around my surroundings and I would be like, well, they're grown adults and I admire what they're doing. They would send their money back home to feed their families, and I admired that, and it was just like amazing. But I said, I have to do better, not only for me, but for my culture, for my country, for my state, everything. So I worked my butt off, and yes, I had higher hopes and to get out of that environment. But the whole time, my mom was teaching me something that I didn't know, and it was teaching me, you know, dedication and just being honest and earning what the dollar's worth and understanding the true dollar and what it takes to get it.
And when she was working and you were working with her, like, were times tough financially still? Even though she was doing all that, like,
yes.
Did you paint the picture of what home life was like at the
yes,
time?
I mean, home life. Listen, the funny thing is, Omar, get this, I never knew that we were less fortunate. I never understood it. I thought we were the richest. I thought we were a rich family because I owe it to my mom and dad how well they provided. Listen, we always had food, we always had shelter, we always had clothes, we always had, like, there was nothing lacking, right? The essentials that we needed, they were there. But looking back as a child, I was like, wow, you know what? And I talked to my siblings. I'm like, man, we thought we were rich, and we laughed. We're like, yeah, we thought we were rich, but at the end of the day, is what my parents, the way they tailored it and what they did for us growing up. We never lacked anything, man. I mean, it was the only thing that was there always was discipline. Like, get your ass up, go do something with your life, earn your dollar. But that's the biggest lesson that they taught me, man, was get go out there and get after it.
Hey guys, we'll get back to the video in a sec. But first, quick question for you business owners watching. Are you really using AI to grow your business profitably? Or are you leaving money on the table? Well, thanks to today's sponsor, High Level, you can now put AI to work for you and your business 24/7. High Level is the #1 all-in-one marketing and CRM platform that replaces dozens of those scattered apps with one powerful, easy-to-use dashboard. It's like having your own AI assistant running your business around the clock 24/7, writing your emails and texts, following up with leads instantly, booking appointments, building funnels and websites, managing your calendar, and even collecting reviews to grow your reputation and maximize your profits. Thousands of entrepreneurs and agencies are already scaling faster with it, including me and our business. And here's the best part. You can get started today with an exclusive 30-day high-level trial completely free if you click the link in the description below. So don't wait. Start your free trial and let's start growing your business today. Thanks to High Level for sponsoring this video. And now let's get back to the show.
And what prompted you to move at 17 or do your own thing?
There was a lot of things going on as I was growing up, and it's in my book, brother, that as I was growing up, there was nothing to do. Listen, where I was born and raised, there was one movie theater, one high school. And I remember coming home after high school to do my homework. I remember doing my algebra, and I was buzzed because I went drinking with my friends. And it started becoming a regular thing to do. After school, we would go and have someone buy us alcohol and start drinking and fist fights. And it was just, I know for a fact that I was going the wrong path. And I'm a big believer in you got to choose who you hang around with, because at the end of the day is you'll become that. So either you hang around winners, you'll become a winner. You hang around a loser, you're going to become a loser.
Who you surround yourself with is who you become. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And that's what was a big motivator for me. And I actually just went to my mom and dad, said I'm leaving, and they had no idea that, or I didn't ask for permission. I was just going to do it, and they gave me the blessing, man. And seeing my mom at the Greyhound was the saddest thing. But I had to leave. I had to leave, but she didn't know the problems that I was going through, or the troubles, or the fights. Something that's not in the book that I'll share with you right now is I'm actually not supposed to be here today. I actually wasn't. I got there was an incident that happened when I was a child. Well, I'm not a child. I was 16. And I remember getting shot at, and my friend right next to me actually did get shot. So there was a fist fight that broke out. We beat some guys up, and back in Texas and New Mexico in those, if anyone knows the old days, they just carried the rifles right there in the back of the pickup truck. So this one kid that we had beat up pulled out the rifle and started shooting at me and my friends. There was about 5 of us. So we're running down the street as we're getting shot at, and it was nighttime. I remember the sparks just flashing.
Wow.
And I remember running with my friend Ricky, and Ricky goes, ah. And I turned back, I stopped, and he's on the floor. He got shot. So I remember picking him up, putting him on my shoulder, and running away from the violence. And he had to go to the hospital. And the funny thing is that we put those kids in the hospital too, because we beat them up so much that they were all, bleeding. So that's where we found out that they were there as well. So my friend Ricky got shot in the leg, and he recovered. Everything's fine. But at the end of the day, Omar, God put it in my soul, like, hey, listen, you're heading for destruction. So being raised in a small town where I was from, there's nothing but drinking, fights. And I was like, if I don't get out of here, I'm not going to succeed in life. And my mom taught me better. She had no idea what I was going through, or my father, and I didn't tell them. So I just said, I got to get out of here. So I got out of there with a Greyhound ticket and one way to California. And my older brother was already out here. So it was a quick transition. I'm like, hey, I'm coming over.
Did you have any money?
Absolutely not. I just had a backpack, man. I had a
backpack and a one-way.
Yeah, one way. I worked enough to get my Greyhound ticket. I had just turned 17. It so happened it was on my birthday. So, and then I came here, finished high school in Altamont High here in California, and that's where it all started. After that, man, the success.
And then after that, what was your first job you got into?
This has been my only job. So other than working for my mom and her businesses, this was this has only been my first job is merchant services
So what was your first foray into it? Like, what was step one
for my,
for you discovering it?
well, the funny thing is Pomona, California, man. So back in 1994, I had just graduated high school, and there was really no internet at that
Right.
time. You know, everything was just
Yellow
like-
Pages.
Yeah, it was Yellow Pages. So I remember going to the unemployment office in Pomona, and
Off Holt.
Off Holt, yeah.
Yeah.
Off Holt, man. So I remember walking in, and it's like almost a DMV. So you go there, you get
It's terrible.
yeah.
I've been
You
there.
get
It's
a
terrible.
number, man, and then you sit down, and then you wait for the number, and you go to the counselor, and you said, they asked me, what are your skill sets, you know? And I'm like, well, you know, I mean,
Pick cucumbers.
I've harvested, I worked in the fields, I'm a farmer pretty much.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, well, go look at the bulletin board, she said, and there's job offerings, and there was, and a lot of them were fast food, you know, entry-level stuff. But there was one that caught my eye, and it said telemarketing for banking. I'm like, okay, that's something that I would love to do, you know, in an office, yada, yada, you know, okay. So I grabbed that, and I said, what is this? She said, okay, listen, I can set an appointment for you, go for an interview. I said, absolutely. So went to the interview, got hired on the spot, and I had no idea what I was doing. They said, okay, show up tomorrow, and you start at 8 o'clock. And it was really setting appointments for the salespeople to go out and sell the credit card machines.
So you were like a setter for the closers.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was a telemarketer, brother, and I had a breakthrough. So what happened was I got hired for $4.25 an hour.
$4.25.
Yeah, that's what I was making an hour. And then after a month, they seen my ambitions, like, you know what, I'm going to promote you to manager. So they gave me a manager position for telemarketing. So I had 10 telemarketers underneath me. And then another month went by, and here's the breakthrough, bro. This is where the life-changing moment happened, and God was just like, you know, looking down on me. So there was a call that came in that I personally made, that I actually called out there to a gentleman in Simi Valley who owned a glass shop, and he spoke Spanish better. His English was broken, so I started talking to him in Spanish. So he said, yeah, I'm interested. Come and see me. So I said, absolutely. So then we were supposed to give that to a sales guy to go out there. So being that the corporate office was in Louisville, Kentucky, and it was National Processing Company, second largest processor in the world that I worked for at the time, my manager goes, Moses, there's no one here that speaks Spanish or no one we can send out. I'm like, what are you talking about? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, listen, I'll run it. He goes, no, you need to open the office as you do. You got 10 people you got to worry about, and you give out the lead, so I can't allow you. I'm like, well, this is the day I resign. So I resigned, and that was the breakthrough moment, brother. I drove to Simi Valley, made $1,000, and I never looked back. And that's been my sales career.
So you resigned and picked that guy up as your first client?
Yes.
Ah,
So but I was still working. I resigned as a telemarketing manager.
right.
Went to sales, commission only,
Okay.
and went and sold that gentleman and sold the machine and got him up and running on credit card services.
Were you a natural at sales?
I don't know that I was a natural, Omar. I think just being honest. One of the things that I tell my staff is don't lie, cheat, or steal, and I was always honest. So here's the thing. Back in those days, bro, in '94, the paperwork, the lease, and all the paperwork had to be squeaky clean. You know, if there was a T that looked like an I, they would send you back. So what I would do is get the signatures only. I would say, let me get the signatures only. I'll get you copies when we fill out the rest. I'm gonna have my manager help me fill out the paperwork. So my manager would trip out because I would go there with signatures. I would have social security numbers. I would have all this data, but I would go there and like, hey, I don't want to mess up the paperwork. Help me fill it out. And they're like, how do these people trust you? I'm like, listen, I just keep it real with them. At the end of the day, I was honest. I would tell them if I didn't know the answer, I'd get the answer for you.
Do you think the difference was that you were hungrier than other sales reps?
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. Of course, I was hungry. Absolutely. I had nothing to lose. I was a kid that was a farmer, you know, and didn't have anything. So there was nothing to lose. And it was balls to the wall all the way, man.
What do you think separates good salespeople from great salespeople from world-class salespeople?
Dedication. A lot of people aren't disciplined and dedication. Listen, at the end of the day, anyone can survive. Anyone can become who they want to be. I remember being in elementary school, and my teacher said to the class, you guys can be an astronaut. You guys can be a firefighter. You can do whatever you want. But at the end of the day, Omar, if you don't have the dedication and the discipline, and I don't give a shit if you're skillful. You could be the best athlete in the world, and if you're playing NFL or baseball, whatever. But if you're not dedicated to the grind and out there hustling, you know, forget about it. You're not going to make it, brother. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, you got to stay hungry.
Yeah.
One of the things Tony Robbins talks about is urgency is what separates people. Do you feel like that was something you cultivated, or that was something on tap? Because I'm sure at this stage too, you have hundreds of reps you've seen over the years, thousands of salespeople you've seen. What are the common denominators you see with the sales reps that end up succeeding and creating the most amount of income versus the ones that kind of flail or stop or jump around jobs? Like, what are common denominators you see of successful salespeople?
You know, that's one thing that I'm so blessed that my mom taught me is everything to me is a sense of urgency. And the top salespeople in my company that kill it. I mean, I have agents making north of $60,000 a month on residual loan. They can go to another country and have a vacation for 3-6 months. As long as there's credit card swiping, they're making residual, and they make north of $60,000 a month, brother, just on residual. So, but what they have, and they, listen, it doesn't matter the color of your skin.
That's right.
If you have an education,
background,
your age, your background, or if you were born with the silver spoon, it doesn't matter. One key ingredient that they have that a lot of people lack is sense of urgency, discipline, and dedication. You know, and I have guys that's all they have is dedication, sense of urgency, and my mom taught me that, and that's what I do. And my office, like in my company's, like everything's urgent.
Yeah.
Of course, listen, there's
I met the team.
So of course, you know, you have to stack it up, like, you know, priorities this, then secondary. But at the end of the day, like, let's go, pick up the phone, get aggressive.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, even my team here that you've met today has come across some incidents that they've learned from me that I said, like, listen, where they said, oh, I'm all calling them. I said, no, you're not. You can call them right now.
That's right.
They did that right now. And then I said, did you learn a lesson? Because it's right then and there is when they got the information that they needed. But at the end of the day is like people put shit off to tomorrow, Omar.
Yes.
And that's the problem with society. That's the problem with America. It's like, that's why freaking immigrants are coming kicking our ass in the United States of America. Listen, I'm a delegate. Listen, I'm all about America. I love my country. I'm a Republican, and I love what our president is doing. But at the end of the day, bro, people want handouts, and like, your handout, excuse me, right?
Yeah.
Sorry about that, but listen, go get it, go fetch it, go do something for it. You know, I mean, you know, you can't just wait around for someone to give you a handout. And I don't really agree with that kind of stuff, Omar. Like, listen, don't come with me with some bullshit because I'm gonna send you out the door. I want winners to work for me, and that's what. If you're walking in my door, you got to be a winner. You got to be disciplined. You got to have integrity. You can't lie, cheat, or steal. And then I'll work with you. You know, you could be unexperienced, because we have a lot of unexperienced people that come to my industry, and we train them from zero, from nothing. We just train them from scratch. And we have a lot of successful people that are just had sales or even came from customer service that are doing amazing. But at the end of the day is they were hungry and they wanted it and they sensed the discipline.
Hey guys, we'll get right back to this video in a sec, but first, I have a quick question for you. Given that the e-commerce industry is growing by the trillions year over year, have you ever dreamed of owning your own e-commerce business like many of the guests we've had on the show, but maybe you feel stuck on how to start? Well, if so, you're not alone. The truth is, starting and setting up your own online store can be incredibly time-consuming, complicated, and get expensive. Not to mention the hassle of researching top products and staying on top of market trends that make you money. Lucky for you, that's where today's sponsor, StoreBuild.ai, comes in. With StoreBuild.ai, you instantly get a free custom-built, AI-driven store loaded with 20 winning products and a custom theme that can help you generate sales. All you need to do is head to StoreBuild.ai, enter your info, then simply sign up to Shopify for free, choose your store's look and feel, and voila! They'll send you your custom-built store ready to generate sales. The whole process is lightning fast. Whether you're just starting out or want to grow, StoreBuild.ai makes launching an online store easier than ever. So why wait? Visit StoreBuild.ai, and in less than 5 minutes, you could have the e-commerce business you've always dreamed of. Thanks to StoreBuild.ai for sponsoring this video, and now let's get back to the show.
And then for you early on, like when you first started, you said you got that, taking us back to that first deal, when you got that first deal with that gentleman. So that was your first sales commission from going setter, right? You took action to like take it to the next level, level up. Where did your income start to grow? Because you walked the audience through like where your income started to go from that first 1,000 to 100,000, 200,000. Like take us through the steps of where you really started to grow your income and compound.
So check this out. So it started on commission only, and I was top sales in 94, 95, and quarter of 96 is when I got promoted to manager.
And how much were you making at that time?
At that time, I was already making close to 300,000 at that time.
This is the late 90s.
This was Yes, this was the late 90s, brother. And then before I opened my company, so let me take you back though, what happened, because I didn't get here easily, guys. I don't want people to think, oh, it was easy. No, there was a lot of setbacks. Let me tell you. So I was probably about 19 when I started working, 18, 19. So right before I was 20, brother, I actually got in a car accident while I was out there on commission only driving. So I got in a car accident. I got rear-ended, actually. It was about 7 to 8 car collision, and I was on the 10 freeway. So it's not all peaches and cream. So I'll tell you
By
a setback. Yeah,
By Pomona?
yeah, right. 57
City Hall?
freeway,
Yeah, I know
the
exactly.
10 freeway, the 210, right there where they meet, bro.
That's where
Right
shit
there
happens, bro. I know exactly.
So I was right there, and sure, they rear-ended me. All I remember, Omar, was hearing the screeches. Before I even looked at the rear mirror, I got hit. I remember waking up, because I got knocked out, brother. I remember waking up, facing incoming traffic, and I remember looking at all these cars, and they were just passing me, and I was like, where am I? What the hell just happened? So my car was totaled, and being on commission only, Omar, I couldn't go and file unemployment, and I couldn't go back home to my mom and dad. I left for a better position and to help them out. So
couldn't admit defeat and go back. Yeah,
couldn't do that. So my back was thrown out. My back was messed up. So I had to survive. So get this, my electricity got shut off. My gas got shut off, so I had to take cold showers.
So you ran out of money.
Oh, dude, I had nothing.
How old were you at this time?
I was already 20 years old. I think I was about 20 right there. I was 20 already, and I couldn't afford to take my trash out. So I would give my neighbor my trash cans, so the guy would come over and pick up my trash, brother.
Yeah.
But the guy found out, like, wait a minute, I keep picking up his trash, and theirs, so he stopped picking my trash up.
Yeah.
Long story short, so it just stacked up. So my high school friend Hector Meneses, we're still good friends. He would bring up his Ford Ranger and would load it up, and then would go to a dumpster nearby and take my trash. So listen, it was so bad, Omar, that I would go to fast food restaurants and steal the toilet paper, brother. I couldn't afford toilet paper. I couldn't afford a lot of things at the time. So
And then you still had to show up with confidence and sell.
100%. So here's what I did. So I got a pedal bike. I started going to using my bike to go to customers. I got on Metrolink, brother. I did. I got on Metrolink.
Wow.
I would borrow cars. I would get rides. So yeah. So listen, I had it tough.
And so at this time, what was the fuel? Was it I want to survive necessity, or was it I want to get fucking rich, or I have a vision, or
Survival.
What was the fire inside that was driving it? What was because motive matters, right? A lot of people cruise to survive the month or pay their bills this week or this year. What for you was that North Star that maybe the audience watching who might be in that own season of their life right now? Yeah. What for you was that light at the end of the tunnel that kept the fire burning?
Faith. I'm going to be honest with you. At the end of the day, brother, I always had faith, and I always believed in God, and I would pray to him. I know he brought me here for a reason. And
what was the vision, though?
The vision at that moment, though, was survival. At that moment. And I asked him, and I remember getting on my knees, and I was just dead broke, and I didn't have anything. I was like, God, why'd you bring me here? Like,
I'm working my ass
worse.
off.
Yeah, I'm worse off than where I was at home. And I just remember saying, just stay focused, just stay focused. And the best analogy I could tell you, Omar, the way I put it is I dove in the ocean, didn't come up for air until I found the treasure. I didn't come up for air, brother.
I love that.
I was looking at my bank account like, oh shit, it's growing. And I just kept going. And to this day, bro, I still work like I'm poor. I work like I don't have no money. I'm poor, and I'm just working. I show up every day at work. I set the principle. I'm there early, and I'm the first one or the last one for the most part. Like, I'm always there. Like, I need to set the principle for people to understand what discipline is. So it wasn't easy. So going through those stages, brother, and I still hustled. I still got the accounts. I still pedaled my way. They didn't have electric bikes back in those days, bro. So it was all pedal, man. So
and then you started your own company right away, because I know you got promoted through the ranks of the company.
Yeah.
You started your own thing. How did you have the confidence to start your own thing, or know the paperwork, know how to run processing?
Dude.
Right, because the payment processing industry, there's a lot of logistics, nuances, and you're talking about the 90s. You can't Google or YouTube it. Like, how did you take those imperfect action steps for people watching who might be like, well, how the fuck did he know what to do?
Man, you asked some good questions, Omar. So check it out, brother. So I was there for 10 years. And after the 10-year, they gave me a promotion. It's like, hey, move to Louisville, Kentucky. We'll make you vice president of the second largest processor of the world at the time. and come and run our sales organization. I was like, that's when that was the key moment for me. Is like, at the end of the day, it's like, no, you know what, I'm already doing it for someone. I already have over 7 different offices, all the West Coast. That's the turning point where, in my mind, Omar, I always had an entrepreneur moment where my mom taught me to go and just hustle on your own, go do your own thing, go be your own boss. So that was the time that I resigned. I just walked out. I didn't have an office, I didn't have crew, I didn't have anything. I resigned from a 10-year job position that I had, that I made it to the ranks. And when I did that, I said, you know what, let me go consult with a couple of people who are professionals. And I was just 20, I had just turned 28 at that time. So I said, let me go talk to a couple of guys. So I talked to my accountant and I said, hey, here's my business plan. I want to pull my 401k out and start my company. And he said, that's the craziest story I've ever heard. Do not do that. I'm like, oh shit.
So you wanted to cash out your 401k?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
To invest it in the new business?
100%.
At 28?
At 28. And at that time, I had pretty good substantial money because I was making good money. And then
How much did you start with at that time, roughly?
I had a little under $250,000.
Okay.
So then I asked my accountant. So my CPA said, no, you're crazy, right? So then I would go to my accountant, who knew me pretty well. He knew me my whole 10 years because those two guys knew each other. I mean, they knew each other, but they worked in different offices, right? So I was like, okay. So then I made another appointment, went to ask him, and he's like, Moses, I cannot approve that. That's the worst thing you could do. I'm like, okay. So I wanted to, Omar, I was looking for reassurance from someone, right?
Permission.
Someone, right. So then I go, you know what? When I got in my car accident, I met this guy who's an attorney, we became friends. I'm going to go to talk to him. I didn't tell him when I was going to talk to him, bro. I just called him. He's like, hey, I got to talk to you. I got something pretty urgent. So he probably thought I got in another accident, right? So I'm being a sales guy. I'm like, I'm going to just get in there.
Right.
So I got in there, and at that time, I was just sketched out a business plan. And I told him my business plan, and I told him what I wanted to do. And he pushed it back, He laughed at me, pushed the paperwork back. He goes, Moses, if you're telling me that that's how much money you can do in this business, then I'm in the wrong business. So I can't advise you. I don't think that'll work. So I obviously was like, you know what, screw you guys. And then my problem, Omar, that I didn't, who I should have asked and I didn't ask was God, bro.
I was just going to say that, yeah.
So that was my problem. So my problem, I reeled back, Omar, and I said, you know what, God, take me the right direction. What do I do? And there was a pastor that I grew up with back in the day, and she was my pastor since I was a child. She had told me, go start your own company, but I didn't listen to her. I was still working, but then I did my own company, Omar. And I'll be honest with you, man, it's the best thing that I've ever done in my life, was create my own company.
And when you started, do you right away start having success? Did you struggle early on? Like, walk us through year one.
You know what? Yeah, of course. Listen, everything that I made, I reinvested and reinvested and reinvested. I never looked back. Like, I reinvested everything that we were making. And, it was in 2003 when I opened it. And I pulled out my 401k and just took off. And I didn't have an office. I didn't have anything. I didn't have even a company name for that matter. It just started from, everything was organically grown. But I knew the service. I knew the system. Like, there was nothing else that can take me away. It was just time. And I remember working, 14, 16, 18 hours days. When you first start a company, you're 24/7.
Did you have any employees, or you just started?
It was just me by myself at the time.
And the business model was what, for people who don't know? It's like payment processing. At that time, you essentially go to merchants, you sign them up as clients, and then you get a piece on residual of every transaction they do. Yeah,
absolutely, Omar. So good question, my man. So essentially what it is like for instance, when you go to pay a gas station, right? You to get gas, every transaction you make residual. I don't care if it's a Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover. Every transaction, I don't care what it is, even a government card, EBT card, whatever it is, gift card, whatever. So anything that touches that electronic, there's residual for the sales agent. And we have hundreds of sales agents throughout the country, and that's how they make a living. Not only do they make it on the commission, because when you sell a hardware, the software, you still sell that. You make a one-time commission, but ongoing commission is every time that swipes, and that's where the moneymaker was. And I presented my case to 3 guys, and they didn't understand my model. And it's just, they didn't have the intelligence to adapt or understand what I was talking about. I guess, in my own mind, I was explaining it to them, but they just didn't understand it. So I'm like, you know what? You don't understand what I'm doing. I need to do it on my own.
How important was taking imperfect action to take your business to the next level? Because a lot of people wait till they have all the steps, everything's clear, they got money in the bank. how important to your career, even at this level, right? I'm sure there's new levels at every level, right? We interviewed John Paul DeJoria, founder of Patron Tequila, and Paul Mitchell, multi-billionaire. And he even told me, he's like, bro, you know the big secret? I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. He goes, I got 12,000 employees. I run billion-dollar companies. I have no fucking clue. Everybody looks at me like I'm this genius. And he goes, but the idea is you just act as if, and then it follows through. So how important was you taking imperfect action and kind of figuring out along the way for people who are listening who want to take their life to the next level?
Yeah, Omar, good question. And one of the ingredients that he has that I've been gifted by God with that is just having balls, man, and going in there and asking questions later, just doing it. You know, some of my guys who work for me in the office or even outside of the office, they come and ask me, it's like, hey, I want to do this and do that. I'm going to work it out. I was like, why are you waiting? Why wait next month? I mean, I had someone recently said, hey, you know, the year's almost over, my New Year's resolution. I was like, why wait till January? See, this is,
Right.
and that's when I went off on them, and I'll call it like it is. Like, the problem is that people put it off and wait, and there's no sense of urgency. To me, it circles back to urgency and just get it done.
That's right.
You know, just get the shit done and you'll progress more. And, you know, a lot of people need to work smarter, not harder, you know, and people don't understand that. It's a couple of tweaks that people need to do. And, you know, I mean, we have a good foundation, a good crew that has learned a lot and very successful. But to answer your question is, you know what, it's the grind and it's execution. A lot of people talk about the dreams and goals, but they never execute.
Action.
You know, action, bro, is key to success.
Even if it's imperfect initially.
100%. It doesn't have to be perfect. Guess what? You pick up the pieces as you're moving along. As long as you're moving along.
Yeah, you can cuss. It's cool.
Yeah, sorry, man.
Now, take me back to year 1, year 2, year 3. Like, paint the picture for the audience. You know, what was revenue like? Did you grow it right away? Was it up and down? What were those first few years like as you started to compound it?
Man,
Did you struggle early on, or did
oh,
it kinda...
absolutely. You know what? You just brought a memory back how bad it was. So for some of you young folks who won't remember, some of the listeners, but, you know, in 2008, 9, when recession hit 2010, my company was young and it was new. I remember, Omar, that I stopped my salary. I didn't take a salary there. My company was suffering. We were getting more businesses canceling because they were going out of business than we were getting new businesses. So what did I do?
Shit.
Yeah, bro.
After years of
Yes.
hustling, and then now it's just like that.
And that was in the recession time of 08, 09, 010, 2010, yeah, in that time. So what happened, brother, is what do? As a business owner, you pivot, you know?
That's right.
So check this out. So what I did is I said, okay, I cut my salary. We used to have lavish Christmas parties, lavish promotions, lavish just gatherings. So all that, we cut all that out. We even stopped. It got so bad, we even stopped buying cups for coffee and styrofoam. We're like, bring your own cup from home, you know? So we tightened everything up, Omar. We tightened everything up. But guess what? One of the things that I'm so proud to say to this day, not one employee did we lose.
Wow.
I cut my salary and I gave it all back to them, but I didn't lose one employee. And I have employees that have been working for me since I opened the company. But at the end of the day is the leader who takes the hit. You don't start from the little guy. You take from the top, and the top work it down. And one thing that, listen, we kept all our staff, didn't lose one, didn't let go of one, but I tightened up and pivoted and reshaped and reformed and did more with less. And we got out of the trenches. I have hundreds of friends that went out of business.
What were some of the pivots you made that didn't work versus did work?
For that incident, pretty much what we pivoted. So one of the things that worked was we got into, customers needed paper. So I opened a paper supply company. So, you know, when you have a credit card machine, you need paper, right? So I didn't sell paper. I didn't have
for
paper. I didn't give a
receipts,
shit about
printing
paper.
receipts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So then what did I do? I opened a paper company.
Yeah.
And then on every terminal that we would sell, we would put the company sticker on that. So I pivoted. I started
branding on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you brand, you pivot, you start getting more revenue. Things that we didn't do is like, hey, you need a cash advance. Okay, well then we were doing loans on money based on your credit card processing.
And then
so I
make money
started
on the
doing that.
interest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I started thinking, listen, at the end of the day is, if I was gonna succeed, I'm taking my people with me. If I'm sinking, I'm gonna be the first one to sink. So instead of my staff. So we're really blessed. Listen, I don't. I can't thank anyone, or like you said, the gentleman doesn't know what he's doing. But at the end of the day, it's like I just had guidance, man. Listen. I still pray for guidance every day, bro. I ask for wisdom, courage, and understanding, and that's something that I've been blessed. And then I'm a big believer in Matthew 7:7. Knock and you shall receive, and I mean, go out there, seek and you shall find. So get off your butt, pretty much is saying, and there's basic principles. There's nothing new, bro. The Bible's been there for 100 years. There's not a new translation. It's been the Bible for 100 and thousands of years.
Yeah.
But if you understand it and follow it, it's pretty basic. Everything that I'm doing is pretty basic. It doesn't take a genius to do it.
Yeah. Well, genius is in the execution.
Yeah.
Genius is in the execution. Now, let me ask you this. What are some of the biggest challenges you deal with even present day? Like, because a lot of people could look at you and be like, oh, you got it all figured out. But the truth is, being a business leader, you deal with more problem solving than anything. That's all business is, right?
Absolutely.
So what are some of the challenges present day that you deal with that maybe the audience might be surprised to be like, oh, shit, he still deals with that, or he's still trying to figure that out? Just to humanize the context.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we deal with normal struggles like everyone else and every other entrepreneur. Like, to give you an idea, I'm very big on the supermarkets, right? And recently we had the government shutdown. So what does that happen? So the government shut down. So the supermarkets that we incur and we sign up, they can't apply for the EBT because that is a big on the supermarket. So that affected us where we're just like on standstill. So we're like, okay, what do? Well, focus on another avenue. So we go through the same struggles that every other entrepreneur goes. It's nothing different. We don't have it all figured out. But I tell you what, one thing in my organization is that we constantly have meetings every day, management meetings, team meetings, and we're always thinking of ideas and brainstorming. So we get new products, new services. We're always looking for the best new thing out there because you cannot get left behind. The problem with a lot of entrepreneurs, they get comfortable and they get stale. My company, anyone that's comfortable, we have to talk. We have to have a sit down because at the end of the day, it's like we're looking for a new next product. We're looking.
Right.
What's the next thing? What have you done for the company to earn your wages here? Like at the end of the day, my staff comes to me is like, the team leader wants to do something for their organization, for their department, let's say, or want to give a raise. I'm like, what money have you saved the company? Where have you shopped out our paper? Have you shopped our UPS or FedEx? Like, what are you doing for the company that you deserve that? At the end of the day, I'm creating leaders. I'm creating business people. I'm creating entrepreneurs. That's what I'm doing. I'm all about teaching them. They're learning more with me if they ever went to business school. I'll tell you that. I didn't go to business school, but they're learning a lot more with me. And it's just the fundamentals, basic stuff.
And how big is the team as of current internationally?
We have in-house, we have under 50 employees in the corporate office every day. And throughout the country, we have essentially working as about 110 working agents full-time, but we have over 300. But the ones that really just got out there and grinding, about 110.
And then context of scale of the business, just to kind of like go back to it, is initially, do you remember the first time where, the business went to your first million, 2 million plus, and what that was like for you as a leader to see that coming from the humble beginnings?
You know what, Omar? It's funny because you're not the first person or that has asked me something about that. And to me, it's like, I just look at it and I'm like, it's growing. Even when I was in sales, as a sales agent in my young career, I was like, wow, my bank account's growing. Okay, great. But it would never get to me or I would never be in wow. No, it's just like, you know what? It's there.
Keep it moving.
Yeah. But one of the key factors that I thank my mom to this day, brother, is that whatever you make, reinvest it and reinvest it. And that's how I grown the company. It was never my money. It was our money. And our money is the food that we put on our tables at home, all my employees, it's our company. It's not my company. I go there and everyone shares their thoughts from the top to the bottom. We do brainstorm and I take everyone's consideration because I have group meetings with the whole company. And, no one, there's not a voice that's not heard. And that's a true leader. A true leader will listen to everyone and take that and understand it and see if there is, because I tell you, some of the best ideas I've heard from someone that is an entry-level position. And you can never judge the book by its cover, brother. You have to really sit down, keep your ear close to the ground and understand your people.
100%. Did your mom and dad get to see your success?
Unfortunately, my dad's still alive. He's actually in town. He's visiting from where I was born and raised. Yeah. So, it's a blessing to have him here. But my mom, no. My mom didn't get to... My mom just got to see where she was happy that I bought her the home, right? But she didn't get to see this. No, absolutely not. And that's one of the things that, when I win something... And I get a big win. I excuse me. I just think I wish my mom was here, right? But the book is dedicated to her.
What was her name?
Elattar Heredia.
Wow.
So, but you know, it's been a blessing. And no, she didn't get a chance to see all the successes.
How old were you when you bought her a home?
I was 22 years old, brother.
And what did that feel like for you to think that you went from being a young kid with her in the farms, struggling, to buying her a house in your early 20s? That must have felt incredible.
Yeah, there's a little story to that, brother. So I left the house, right, at 17. I didn't go back. 17, yeah, till I was about 22. So I didn't want to go empty-handed. You know, my thing was I can't go back home empty-handed. So what I did is I made enough money to make her happy, right? So I went out there.
Wow.
And my thing was to give her the money and say, hey, here, I want to thank you for what you've done and help me, raise me, and I love you. But I found her in the worst conditions ever, brother. And
Her health?
I had left
Yeah.
thinking I was going to go back to seeing her the way I left her. So my mom, first of all, when I pulled up in the house, that house was boarded up. The bank repoed it. She wasn't there, brother. So I'm like, what the hell's going on here? I had no idea. My mom was such a strong lady. She never wanted to worry me, right? So I didn't know all her struggles. So I called my sister and I was like, where's my mom at? And she gave me an address where she was at. And I found my mom in one of the worst conditions I've ever seen, and it broke my heart, bro. And she was more gray hair, more wrinkles, and that money that I was gonna gift her, I didn't gift her. I said, Mom, I gotta get you out of this environment. So that's when I bought her the home.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was definitely an eye opener, and it was hard. It was hard, Omar. I'll tell you that. Seeing my mom suffering. But you know what? The funny thing is, Omar, that as soon as I pulled in and she seen me, she goes, she just wanted to cook for me. She just wanted to make me food. She was so happy to see me.
Doesn't care about anything you have or money.
She
or anything.
didn't care about her living conditions or anything. And
What did she make you? What did she cook for you? You remember?
hey man, my all-time favorite to this day, I had my sister do it. So give me a homemade flour tortillas with some beans. I'm happy as a king, man. So, but you know, she was just she was a hell of a baker and cooked very well. But I got her out of that environment, brother. So it was tough going back, but I went back, and the way it felt was I was at peace in my heart that my mom was in a better place now because I had bought her that place.
Do you remember your last conversation with her?
Yeah, I just said we laughed and I said I love you. You know, she goes, Mijo, you know, I miss you, and I said I miss you too. And damn, Omar, I told you I didn't want to cry, man. But I just said that I loved her, and she said I love you back, and that was the last conversation. And the way she passed, brother, was a total surprise. So she just got pneumonia and got admitted, and I didn't even know that. And she died overnight. My dad called me the next day, so it was a surprise to the whole family. So she wasn't like in bad states or where it was expected or something that we knew. It was just sudden. So I think that's what triggered me the hardest, Omar, because I lied to myself for 10 years that my mom passed. I ignored it. So I flew back, buried my mom, came back because she died in February 19th, 2004. So I had just opened my company in October of 03.
Oh,
so it was a baby company. So I flew back and just ignored it. So I went 10 years, Omar, ignoring that my mom had passed. I just, like, I couldn't see a picture of her. If my family would talk about her, I go to the other room. Like, I just ignored it like she was still alive.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that any listeners or any of my friends, I please encourage everyone to mourn, you know, deal with it. It's even in the Bible, like go mourn and deal with it and face that consequence. I face all my consequences, bro, and all my struggles, but that's the only one I ran from. And I encourage anyone, if you lose a family member or if you lose anyone, please deal with it and please mourn, because it'll definitely set you back. It may set you back 5 years, 10 years. For me, it was 10 years. And I actually, you know, in my culture, Omar, you know, we were trained, oh, you can't see a shrink or you can't see a therapist or this or that. So finally, I was like, listen, something's wrong with me, man. I have God bless me with all the money. I have homes, I have cars. I'm like, I'm living my best life, but
You don't have
I
inner
don't know.
peace.
I don't know what's going on with me, right?
Yeah.
So I prayed about it, went to go get a therapist. I talked to a therapist, and bro, she peeled me like an onion, layer by layer. And finally she goes,
Yeah.
you never mourned. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? She goes, tell me about how it happened. And I told her, she goes, you never mourned. And I'm like, okay. And she was right. She gave me an assignment, brother, that I did. And she said, you know what? You need to have this project, an assignment. Go and write some things down that your mom taught you or that you're proud of her or that you remember of her, right? So I did 12 things, and for each rose I went to the ocean. I had her service. I relived her service, just her and I and God, bro. Again,
Wow.
I had to bury my mom one last time because I still thought she was alive. So in my own mind, So I went there and I threw a rose for everything that she did for me, Omar. I threw a rose in the ocean, and I told her how much I loved her and how much I thanked her, and I finally let go. And I can tell you that's the best thing that I've ever done, because I'm free and I'm not in chains no more. And I know she's in a better place, but I finally had to open that door and let it go. But that's why I encourage a lot of people, like, hey, listen, go out there and deal with it and mourn, deal with it. So after that, I can talk about her, and I dedicated the book to her. I talk about it all the time. I have it on my screensaver.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I know Nicole on your team was mentioning that it's always on your screensaver.
Yeah, I have a picture in my office, at home, on my screensaver. So I'm proud of her.
Yeah,
I'm proud of her.
that's beautiful. And in a kind of way, I'm sure that you feel a sense of peace knowing that she knows you applied all the wisdom she taught you too.
Oh, 100%, brother. She taught me about faith. She taught me about God. She taught me everything I know, brother. Everything I know to this day. Like, I didn't go to business school, right? Everything that I implement in my career was trained and learned from my mother.
Last question on your mom, and I appreciate the vulnerability, brother. I know that's not easy. Is what's your fondest childhood memory with her? Like, if you had to go back, what's the core memory that for you just anchors you a sense of peace, connection, love to her?
One of them that I was thinking about the other day that she would drive me crazy, bro. So when I was a kid,
Yeah.
she would drop me off at school, and she would say un beso, like, in front of my friends.
me a
I'm
kiss.
like, Mom,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to kiss you, Mom. Like, kiss me on the cheek, right?
Yeah.
So I thought about that just randomly driving to work one day, and I just started laughing to myself because she would embarrass me.
And she'd do it on purpose, right? To kind of
un
mess with
beso
you.
on my eyes, so I'd kiss her. But the memories that I have that I really appreciate, I remember she would love Long John Silver's, bro. I don't know if they still exist.
Yeah, like fast seafood. Yeah.
So there was one where I was born and raised. Again, there was nothing there, right? It was a small town, but just going one-on-one with her and having lunch, I really appreciate that with her. I remember those days where that was her favorite place, and we would go there and have lunch. So
Yeah, and that to her was like what now is like a steak dinner for
absolutely.
whatever it is. Yeah.
That was a treat for her, yeah.
That's beautiful, man. Now, circling back, before we wrap up, I want to ask, to other aspiring entrepreneurs out there, men or women around the world, around the country, listening to this, what's the biggest misconception being on this side of the fence? Obviously your business has processed hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars in transactions. You guys have, been in business for 2 decades and growing. So being on this side of the fence as a CEO, as an executive, as a leader, as a human being, what are some of the biggest misconceptions that people might have about what it actually takes that maybe they don't realize, or maybe you didn't even realize being on this side of the fence, right? Because you used to be that young kid, hungry, struggling for answers.
Mm-hmm.
So what advice would you give to people who are watching this or aspiring for this, that maybe you didn't even realize that you could impart the wisdom to them?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question, Omar. I do get that question asked, and what I tell people is you just have to start somewhere. It doesn't matter how you start, just start. And the biggest problem with entrepreneurs that is the fear, and that's in the Bible like 365 times, I think, in the Bible, brother. It's fear. They're afraid to take that leap, afraid to take that step. And I encourage people, don't be afraid. What's the worst that can happen? At the end of the day, do your market research. If you're a young entrepreneur and you're going into a certain sector, do the market research. Make sure that, what do you have to lose if you have nothing already, right? So what do you have to lose? And I give them a little bit of my story and inspiration that, hey, if I can do it, you can do it. Because at the end of the day, like I preach this a lot. Like I say, listen, it doesn't matter if you're educated or not. You just got to have the fundamentals and the right ingredients to be consistent and proactive and productive and persistent, like positive always. So, one of the things to the ingredient is, we talked about it a lot, is the sense of urgency, but discipline. To me, discipline, I wouldn't be where I'm at if I wasn't disciplined. Like, I still go to the gym every morning. I still will be in the office early. Is a lot of discipline is what people really need. It's not that hard. Like, the key ingredients, brother, is not that difficult, Omar. And people need to write goals. Listen, I remember as a kid working in the credit card processing and having my goals pinned on my cubicle. And, a goal without a plan is just a wish. At the end of the day is set your goals, but make sure you're revisiting them weekly, monthly, quarterly. Like, you have to keep revisiting them. You can't just set a goal or a New Year's resolution and not revisit that. So, people just need to be a little more structured and disciplined.
It's funny, on that note, I heard something one time too. They said that every religion on earth, right, people disagree, right? Whether Jewish, Muslim, Christian, Hindu, Buddhist, whatever, but nobody disagrees that doctrine had to be written down. So if God himself had to write the word down to manifest, who are we as humans to think we don't have to write it down for it to come to pass? And I never forgot that ever since I heard that. Like you were saying, like the Bible isn't rewritten, or the Quran or the Torah or whatever it is. It's written once, and it's not new lessons. It's the same lessons applied deeper and deeper and deeper. So I love that you say that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree with that. And I love the way you put it. You're absolutely right, brother.
And let me ask you this then. So for people listening, if you had to give, Moses Heredia a 60-second piece of wisdom to someone out there who's stuck, struggling, wanting to take an action, they don't know what to take, right? You said take action, but maybe they feel stuck right now. What would be your best 60-second piece of advice to get someone unstuck and really start living in the momentum they crave?
Here's what I always say is, you need to spend time with yourself. Spend time with yourself. Find something that you're passionate about, something that you love. I don't give a what it is, because it's not a job. Once you love it and you're passionate and you're like doing it, it's not a job. Like, I love meeting people. I love talking and doing what I do today. But I don't see it as a job, brother. I see it as a fundamental. I love it. I mean, I wake up every day looking forward to being in the office and helping people become winners and helping people save money, helping entrepreneurs or business owners that join us, showing them a better way to modify their business and tailor it, because our systems is definitely tailored to a specific model or industry, right? So I just would encourage that people need to spend time with themselves, meditate, and seek a spiritual, because I'm a big believer in it. It exists. There's a lot of miracles that happen in my life. So spending time with yourself and understanding and knowing yourself and looking at that person in the mirror, brother, and loving that person, number one, loving that person,
Yes.
Number two is find something you're passionate about and have fun doing it.
Do you meditate?
Yes.
What role has it served in your life or business? Because I actually do too, and I attribute so much of what I've been able to do to it, even more than taking action. Because having the inner sense of clarity sometimes creates that window where you see the action to take versus just taking action all over the place and nothing happens. So I'm curious for you what that journey's been like on the meditation side.
Omar, listen, if I wouldn't meditate, brother, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. Meditation for me is role playing and seeing the future of what I've constructed and what I've built.
In advance,
In advance. Like, I remember meditating at church one day, brother, and I had been working on the 4Gs, right, for months. And I was at church meditating, and boom, it just like nowhere, it just came to me. God, goals, grind, global impact. I'm like, but I couldn't do that if I wouldn't meditate. So even when I put an infrastructure or a business plan or something in my office, brother, it all comes from meditation. And it's huge. Like, the mind is so powerful that people need to understand that. And that has elevated my company, grown revenue, and has exploded because of meditation is huge. Spending time with myself.
Yeah. That's one of the biggest things too, is like for me, I had so I do TM, Transcendental Meditation, but I had the teacher who taught me, she asked me a question. I never forgot it. I've never missed a day since I started, ever. And she told me this thing. She said, why is it that people can go 20 years, 20 months, 20 hours scrolling, right? And spending their whole life doing a bunch of this stuff, but they can't close their eyes for 20 minutes and hear what's inside? What are you avoiding? What
Love
are you
that.
avoiding?
Love that.
And the crazy part is that so much of our life, we're looking for answers outside, right? I want to go here. I want to get that. I want to drive this. I want to be here. I want to, and not realizing that the biggest form of luxury in the world is your own inner peace with yourself. How many people do we know? The suicide rates in this country are highest among the socioeconomics of people who have the most money, not the brokest people. It's actually the wealthiest people that have the highest suicide rates. Why? It's because they can't stand what's inside. You could have the whole world. If you spend your whole life looking outside, you'll never find what you're looking for because all of it is inside. And it sounds foo-foo and fluffy, but until people get it, they'll never realize it.
Yes.
And you realize that a lot of the answers, ideas are like, you're like an antenna. The ideas are already inside of you. One of the things she taught us was that the truth is sitting on the floor of your mind, waiting for you to pick it up.
100%.
But we sit there and think, oh, I'm going to think my way to solution. When in reality, if you just center yourself and anchor, the answer is right there in front of you. And like you said, it's just about seeing the unseen. So I love that you mentioned that too, because I'm a big proponent of meditation as well.
No, man, you couldn't have said it any better, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's amazing. Is exactly how you said it is what people should follow, and the listeners should really take that into consideration because you hit it right between the nose, bro. That's key
Yeah.
to success, and that'll help a lot of people because it starts with us.
That's right. It starts inside. 'Cause
Starts
anything you
inside.
build on an unstable foundation doesn't matter. It'll fall like a house of cards. It all starts with the foundation. So before we wrap, bro, we play a little game with every guest. It's called First Things First. The way the game works is I'm going to rifle off a quick word or phrase, and you just tell me the first word or phrase that comes to mind. Make sense?
Sure.
So the only rule is that you can't repeat yourself twice.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. If we could film BTS for this too, this will be a good one. We'll edit this out of the pod, but I would record. So again, the game's called First Things First. I'm gonna rifle off a quick word or phrase. So like a word relation game, you just tell me the first word or phrase that comes to mind. Only rule is that you can't repeat yourself twice.
Mm-hmm.
Cool? All right, ready?
Mm-hmm.
First one, your mom.
Love and peace, man.
The biggest limiting belief you had to overcome to get to where you're at.
Faith,
Money.
not important.
Your first million.
Didn't even know I had it.
Success.
I cry when I make a win.
Fear.
Doesn't exist in my vocabulary.
Your future.
Fucking amazing.
A great salesperson.
Discipline.
The lowest low you've had in business.
Encouraging.
The highest high you've had in business.
Crying.
Best advice you've ever gotten.
Jesus.
A word of wisdom that your mom taught you that sticks with you till this day.
She always helped everyone and would give the last dollar to them.
God.
The truth.
When Moses Heredia is dead gone and nothing but a pile of dust, what do you hope his life and legacy was all about?
Love, peace, and helping others become better.
And the last one, when somebody's watching this interview and they wrap it, what do you hope they gain from this interview, and what do you hope they do with their life as a result of it?
That God is real and dreams do come true.
Oh, man. And Moses, where can people find you before we wrap if they want to get in touch with you? I know you guys got a YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook. You guys got the book as well. So if you could share with the audience a little bit about where they could find you and connect with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Website is mosesheredia.com, and my IG is Moses Heredia as well. And they can Google me, but the company is Global Processing Systems, locally here in California. And it's been a great ride, man. I want to really thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here with you and share these conversations and these deep thoughts, man. Before we even started, I said, hey, I'm not going to cry. And I have to tell you that you're one of the best that I've sat down and have interviewed. And I appreciate the intelligence and the questions you were asking, brother, because you know the right ones to ask.
Thank you, brother. That means the world to me. And I actually have a bonus question for you. I know on your social you have a photo with Trump. So I'm curious, what was it like meeting President Donald Trump? And if you could maybe talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it was an honor. I've met him 2 different times, and I got invited to the White House.
What was President Trump like in person?
President Trump in person is an amazing man, very humble, as people don't really understand him. I had the opportunity to meet him in Beverly Hills at a dinner, and also at the Coachella, and I've got invited to the White House as well, right? So he's one of the guys that I met that is really confident, one of the most confident persons I've ever met in my life, and is brilliant. The guy is a genius, to be honest with you, and people don't know him, and he's very humble and very forthcoming and giving. He has a big heart that people don't understand.
Yeah. What's the biggest misconception you think people have about him?
That he's arrogant, cocky, and doesn't care about anyone but himself, but that's false. I know, I've met him several times, and the guy has the biggest heart, man.
I love that. Well, very cool, Moses. Thank you so much for being on the show. Any final words of wisdom to our listeners worldwide?
Keep the faith, God goals grind, and make an impact in global, and never forget where you came from. Always be humble and give.
Oh, man. From the fields to fortune. Thank you so much, Moses.
brother.
Appreciate you, bro.
Man.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. As always, make sure to live strong, live with passion, and you can also check out Fields to Fortune in the description down below, as well as check out all of Moses' links to his social media, YouTube channel, and more, as he's been coming out with some epic content coming to you guys soon. We'll see you guys next time, and until then, go make those dreams a reality.